Hello and welcome to the second part of the Samantha necklace video. Alright, we'll get straight into it. Now, as you remember from part 1, we were just starting the M. So what I've done, I've created the left hand side of the M and I've gone and made a backward crimp so it goes behind the vertical section here. Now, in order to make the M, what I do now is I don't use the pliers. I grip the A and the S with my left hand, and I grip the vertical section here with my right hand, and I just bend it to the right slightly, so I'm making a very small V shape there. The reason I'm doing this is so now I'm going to grip the wire, very tip of the pliers, and I'm going to grip it level with the baseline there. Alright, hope you can see that okay. Now I'm going to do a forward crimp with a difference, okay, just a forward, bend the wire towards you, forward, over and up. Alright, now we've got a triple layer. What I'm going to do now is bring those layers together, so I bring the pliers to the all three layers of wire and I squash them together like that. So there we are, you can see that the three layers have come together. If you look from the side, you'll see the three layers. Now, the M I grip on the left hand side here, now level with the top of the A. And I'm going to make a right hand, I'm going to bend the wire towards the right around the jaws of the pliers. So I'm going to make a very small semi loop or semi circle. Alrighty, so it looks like an N. But I'm just going to make it narrower than the width of the A. I'm going to make it narrower than the width of the A. Probably about half the width of the A, almost. Alright, now this is the middle part of the M. So what I'm going to do is grip the wire, not quite at the baseline, level with the baseline, but very close. And I'm going to make a backward crimp. So here we go, away from me. Look from the side, now you see the gap. I'm going to close that gap with the flat part of the pliers again. That's a crimp. Now you'll see the wires pointing upwards, and now we're just going to repeat that process. So you grip the wire with the pliers on the middle section of the M now, and now we're going to bend the wire to the right and bring it all the way down, and make sure with your eye that it looks exactly the same as the left hand side of the M. Alrighty, so there we are, you can see the M, almost the finished M there. So now all that's left to do is come back to the baseline as always. I shouldn't say as always, as mostly. So we're going to grip the wire close to the baseline, level with the baseline I should say, and bend the wire to the right at right angles. Now here you've got to check again that the baseline looks level, and it looks a tiny bit off. I just noticed it a tiny bit off, so I'm going to just adjust it. Okay, that looks better. Alright, so now we have a SAM, so we're getting there. Now the next A. Now the next A is basically a repeat process of the first A, so I won't explain this one too much. I'll just mention that of course you've got to keep the eye on the gap again, make sure it's the same size as the first gap, the second gap, third gap. Okay, bend to the right, forward crimp, bring the wire around, try and make the second A as close in proportion as to the first A. You don't want them different sizes, otherwise it looks kind of messy. Okay, so make sure that gap's closed, yep. Alright, backward crimp. finish off to the baseline again. Alright, let's have a look. Okay, looks a little bit wonky. Not quite level, that's not level. Alright, so what I'm going to do is a minor adjustment. Of course, sometimes you can't make an adjustment without, if you're wildly out, then you might have to start again. I've done this quite a few times and I still do. Usually you can only adjust it up to a point and then you have to say, no, that doesn't look right, start again. Now this is okay, so you'll see now the SMA. N is next, so again we bring the wire around up to the vertical, and like the start of the M, we do the same thing. We make a backward crimp, pull the wire slightly to the right. Okay, for forward crimp, bring the 3 layers together by clamping the side. Now I'm going to bring the wire around as before, but this time we're going to make it a bit wider. So because it's not going to be an M, of course, an N has a wider, the width of the N is wider than the smaller left and right hand side of the M, so that it's in proportion with the rest of the letters. Okay, so that's round. Now I come back to the baseline again. Alright, now make sure again we've got a nice straight line here. If you like, you can get hold of a ruler, which I don't have on me. Okay, I've got a phone. Alright, so that level, some kind of straight edge to make sure that that's level. You should be able just to check with your eye. Your eye usually tells you the right information. Alright, so Samantha. Okay, we're probably about half finished now. Now the next letter is a T. T is probably one of the harder letters to do, but bear with me, it's not that difficult. I think it's actually more difficult to explain than it is to do. Alright, so again, we make sure the space between the letters is uniform. We come around, we come straight up. Now I'm going to do a backward crimp, probably about 8, 9 or 10 millimeters above the wire. Backward crimp. Now it doesn't have to be level with the top of the S. Make it a bit less high than the S is. All right. So backward crimp. Turn the name upside down. I'm just going to bring a bit more wire off the reel here. Okay. Upside down now, grip the double up section right at the bottom. Okay, now bring the wire to the left, right angle. Okay, so now it's a right angle to the left, but when we have the name the other way up, of course it'll be to the right. And that's how it looks. Alright, this is going to be the cross of the T, so now we grip the wire here on the left hand side of that vertical section, and we make a forward bend across over the vertical section, like that. Now we can see how it's turned out. Now you might just want to close the gap a little bit, only a tiny bit though. We don't want to squash the whole thing. Okay, now I'll turn the name right around. So now we're going to grip the wire on the left again and make a forward motion and bring it across. Now the difference is, as you can see, we've got a cross there now. I'll show you from the front. There's the cross of the T. Now this bit you want to bring the wire upwards, so we'll go back to the upside down position. Grip the wire where it's doubled up, just on the left there, and then make a right angle bend again upwards in this case, which takes it level with the vertical section. Alright, now there's a gap there, and then we want to close that gap, and we can, because now this wire isn't triple layered anymore as it was just a minute ago. So we're just going to close that gap. However you want to close it, that isn't awkward. Okay, there we go. That's fairly closed. Oh, it is closed. It's all good. Okay, and there's the T. Look, from the beginning, from the front. Sorry, you can see the T shape now. Might need a little bit of practice with that one, but you should get it after a few tries. Now back to the baseline again. H. So we bend it to the right angle again, and make sure it's level with the baseline, and it is. Now with the H, what we do is we bend the wire around. We grip the base of the T there at the doubled up section. We bend the wire around and up to the right. So it points up to an angle, probably, I don't know, 60 degrees or something. Now we want to grip the wire up where it's level with the top of the T here, and we're going to bend the wire around the round part of the pliers, around and behind, moving that so that you got to make sure that it's level with the top of the T, and we'll bring that wire around behind. And ouch, cramp. Oh, okay, so now it's going vertically, downwards, behind that angle section. And the gap here between the T and the H can be a little wider than the rest, because you've got you've got the cross of the T. You don't want it to interfere too much with the H. So this space can be a little wider between the T and the H than normal. Okay, grip the wire at the baseline now on that vertical section, and we're going to do a forward crimp, but the crimp is going to be slightly different, not a full crimp. Okay, bring it all the way up like that, so it's pointing vertically again. Now we've got a triple layer here, as you can see from the side. Now we don't need to crimp this really at this point. It's actually touching, so that's okay. So we just need to, we can grip the yes, no, we don't want to do that, or do we? Okay, we need to grip that tripled up section there. Okay, now make a shape like you did before with the N. Okay. Right, now it's not straight. Now I just want to straighten this up with my fingers. As you can see, it's not quite how I want it. I've actually made it too big, so make it a little smaller. Okay, straighten it up, and then I'll leave this video at this point because I'm coming up to the 15-minute mark. So the conclusion of the video will be in part 3 in the next video, so I'll see you there.